I think for some of you, probably your grandmother was like my grandmother in some ways. And if it wasn't your grandmother, it's probably someone in your family. And there are many reasons why I love the memory of my grandmother, and I'm grateful to her, and not the least of which is that she encouraged me to enter the ministry from a very young age. I hope she's looking down now and approving. She wouldn't have in her earthly life as to where I went with that. Because you see, my grandmother knew exactly who God was. She knew without a doubt. God was described in the Bible and from the fundamentalist pulpits which she attended, for the services she attended several times a week. God was a stern, judgmental figure outside of the world who created the world in 6 literal days. And everything that happened in the Bible and everything that the Bible said about God was absolute truth. And the scariest part for a little kid is that God was keeping track minutely of all, not only actions, but motivations. It was scary. You know, it wasn't out of my adolescence for very long before I knew that grandmother was wrong, that my understanding of the world through my studies of pretty elementary science proved that her literal view of the Bible and of God was wrong. Somehow it didn't make sense to me that if God was love, as it says in the Bible, that God would condemn most of humanity to eternal torment. I couldn't imagine that. So, you know, my grandmother was a fundamentalist. She couldn't imagine that there could be any truth about God that was not literal truth. She couldn't possibly see that there are other ways of seeing the Bible than as literal history and science books. She couldn't understand that there were different, more subtle ways, more metaphorical ways, more poetic ways, more mythical ways to interpret the Christian tradition. Nor did she comprehend that there are tens of millions of theists, believers, who have gone beyond literalism. So, whoever that was for you, your grandmother or somebody else, if grandma was wrong about God, what about your atheist uncle? Or maybe somebody like him in your family? See, for your atheist uncle, science has all the answers, and science absolutely proves that there is no God. Now, science is God in a sense for your atheist uncle, but he hasn't been reading up on the latest discoveries in brain research, physics, and cosmology for the last few decades. He's not really up to date. The science that is absolute, literal, materialistic truth for your atheist uncle is old science. He doesn't believe anything that he can't see or experience directly. His view of God that he rejects is the mirror image of Grandma's God. You cannot imagine any definition of God but one that is a literal history and science definition in the Bible, and then, just as grandmother accepts that definition of God with all her heart, your atheist uncle rejects that definition with all his heart. It's a science that is materialistic, reductionistic. Your atheist uncle is a fundamentalist. We've had a spate of books recently by some atheist uncles. They call themselves the New Atheists. New Atheists, huh? Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, and Christopher Hitchens are known and claim the title of the Four Horsemen of the New Atheists. Their argument, basically, is the one of your atheist uncle, and they also believe that religion is a mass insanity that causes almost all of human problems, and that human beings must give up religion in all its forms and embrace atheism, or we're not going to survive, because intrinsic to religion is mass delusion. Now, there's really nothing new about the New Atheists. The same arguments have been around since at least 1910. But they have gained some new examination of this classical atheism. There are actually several things I agree with those New Atheists about. And here's the main one. I agree with them that nothing is true because some authority claims it's true. I don't believe that somebody can tell you, you've got to believe this, and don't look at it and don't argue. No proposition of truth is beyond reason. No proposition of truth is beyond arguments. The New Atheists, the old atheists, and me, we're all together. We believe that. But the fact is that these New Atheists have a very unsophisticated view of religion. They don't understand how sophisticated theology has become, how theologians now are integrating and embracing the insights of physics and brain research. They don't understand at all the studies that have been done in faith development, and how literalism is an early stage of faith development, and that all the great religions of the world have means and methods to go beyond that literal stage, to understand the depth and meaning in the teachings and the symbols of the great world's religions. That doesn't exist for them. Now, you know, my friend, Forest Church, talks about when he has a conversation with people who say that they don't believe in God. And he asks them, tell me about the God you don't believe in. And then they proceed to describe, almost always, something very close to grandmother's God, this literal father figure outside the universe. That's the God that they don't believe in. And Forrest would say, I don't believe in that God either. And just for the record, let me say, don't get me wrong, I don't believe in that God either. And then he'll go on to say this: God is not God's name. God is our name for that which is greater than all, yet present in each. So what are the alternatives if we reject grandmother's God? And if we reject uncle's God, what's left? Thomas Huxley, a great scientist of the turn of the 19th and 20th century, coined a new word, a new concept, which is a Greek derivation, which literally means don't know, can't know. And that word is agnostic. Agnostic. And a lot of people who think they are atheists because they have rejected the grandmother type God, the literal God, the God outside of creation, think they're atheists, but they're really agnostics. They don't know. They can't know. There's a bumper sticker It's really good. It says, militant agnostic. I don't know, and you don't either. Forest Church says, I say to my congregants, if you believe in God, the best thing you can do for yourself is to suspend your belief for a while, because undoubtedly your God is too small, and you must grow beyond that God. On the other hand, if you don't believe in God, your very disbelief is a stumbling block. Kick it away and place your faith in something more ennobling than disbelief. Expand your purview. There's actually a better way to explain this. The term for God used by the Lakota, Wakantanka, great mystery. We can't know everything about what the 20th century theologian Paul Tillich calls the ground of being. We can't know from an empirical point of view everything there is to know, although we keep learning more and more. And scientists have to continually revise their view of the universe because of all the surprising things about the great mystery that surrounds us that they discover. Your atheist uncle's not up on his reading on that. It's a mystery. As we say when we note the passing of one of our members, in mystery we are born, in mystery we live, in mystery we die. I guess the question is, do we trust that mystery? Are we at home in this not knowing? What do I believe about God? I try to believe as little as possible. Over the years, I've started to assert less and less certainties about the nature of God in terms of beliefs and ideas. There are certainly beliefs and ideas, new theologies that I resonate with, but those theology books are gathering dust. And the way that I feel God in books is more through the poets. Those metaphors of experience and connection and nature and creation, those are more and more my scriptures. Belief, I think, is the opposite of faith. I think faith is letting go of the need to know, of trusting my existence in this mystery, trusting, feeling alive, feeling open, feeling part of, feeling connected. My experience and that of countless other people throughout the ages leads me to believe that an experience of the divine has to do with connecting, feeling at home, interacting, and the creativity that comes from this deep intimacy with all that is. And when I can let my guard down and be myself, I don't need beliefs to trust my existence in this mystery. When I merge with the ocean or with the sunrise, when the barrier between me and what I mistakenly thought was not me breaks down, when fear leaves me and I can trust my life, myself, my bodily existence. It's not about belief. This is what I think. The world was not created in 6 days. The world is lived into existence at every moment. Each moment is coming from and is returning to God. The world is being created anew in me in each millisecond. Time is not real in that larger sense. Eternity is not endless time, it's timelessness. I breathe the infinite in every breath. I belong. I'm at home. May it be so.